Hello! This video is for tight hamstrings. And we're just going to do 3 basic movements or poses for someone who has tight hamstrings from perhaps running or being on their feet a lot in the daytime, or lifting and maybe just using that muscle so much it feels tight. So it's not for hamstring pain, but for tightness. So to start off with, we'll have our yoga mat. We want to have our blocks, if that's available, and a strap. The strap is probably the most important prop you'll need. If you don't own a strap, you could use maybe a belt or a really long scarf, like maybe a winter one that's a little more sturdy. So try to find something. You'll see at the end, I would say that's the most beneficial thing for hamstring tightness and what we're doing today. So to start off with, you can find cat-cow if you'd like to do a couple little warm-up poses. But I'm going to just take us straight in. So we'll lift up into downward facing dog. And in downward facing dog, I invite you to bend your knees, push your hips back to where the wall meets the ceiling, and find that length in the front of the body, and then begin to release the legs down. Pedal the heels, feel a stretch along the whole back leg, feel length in the front body, find that nice triangle, gazes between the elbow creases on the mat, so your neck is long and not hanging down or lifting too far up. And so from here, you could activate the body by finding your plank asana and then floating back into downward facing dog, and just sort of move the body so that you're working the body or waking up the body, and then you're also stretching the back legs. So however many of these you'd like to start, maybe 10 or so, and you can always come back and include that in the next round. You'll send the right foot up and back, and then straight forward between the hands. Rest the back knee on the mat, release the back toes. So we're coming up into Anjane Asana, or like a low plank. And I like to use the blocks for this pose when we're focusing on hamstrings, because it's going to give you more stability in the hip area. So the reason we're working this area is you want to also work all the muscles around the hamstrings. You want to release the psoas, which is in the front. And these are some great stretches to also kind of activate the muscles around the hamstrings, because it's all a network that works together. So if one thing's tight, there's something going on in all the muscles around that area. So you can, when you have the blocks, you can have a nice stable release, slowing down. Your front knee stays directly over your front ankle, and then you can begin to push the hips back. The front toes can come up off the mat, and then you can find some gentle movement rocking back and forth here. And if you'd like to make this into a flow, you can even lift up, come back down. You can twist open to either side, have your eyes gaze up onto your hands, and then back down, and rock back. And then once you've done about 5 to 10 of those, you can release all the way down and begin to feel that nice stretch in the leg. And then maybe take some time here, about 5 deep breaths. And once you've worked that, you can send the knee back. You can find downward facing dog again. And move into your plank. Move back, however many feels right. From down dog, lifting up the left leg, flexing the foot, sending the left leg through between the hands, resting the back knee, releasing the back toes. Finding your blocks again. Maybe this setting works good for you, and I like the high setting. but depending on how long your arms are will depend on what feels more comfortable. And if you don't own any blocks yet, I suggest getting the thicker blocks versus the thinner ones. In stores like TJ Maxx, you generally see the thinner ones first, and those generally come in packs. But I would recommend the bigger ones. They just give you more stability. And so we're just rocking back and forth. We're opening up the front. We're stretching the hamstring. And then you can even find a nice little flow here. You can do an open twist and down. You can lift up and down. And you can move through all three of those movements, back and forth. And then on the end, release and hold. And so I am kind of rushing through this just to give you 3 poses that you can take and work longer. But I would definitely recommend holding this for at least 5 to 10 breaths if that's available to you. And so releasing the blocks off to the side, finding the knees both on the mat. You can come back up into downward facing dog. You can walk the feet forward on the mat, bending the knees slightly. Inhale, lifting all the way up. And then I suggest walking the feet out to the corners of the mat so that they're pointed towards the corners of the room. Come into a nice little squat. This is called Mulasana, garland pose. You can bring the elbows in, side the legs, hands are together, gaze is lifted, stretching the inner thigh. And then you can carefully release the hands down, release the hips to the mat, gaze back, make sure you have room for your head to rest. So this is the last and final pose that is geared towards your hamstrings, and this is the one that will be the most delicious as far as stretching out your hamstrings. So take the strap, extend the left leg all the way down to the mat, flexing the left foot, bring the right foot into the strap. You want the ball of the foot to be in the strap, not the center of the foot, which is where we generally want to go to. You want the ball of the foot, which is just beneath the toes. And you can extend the leg straight up. You can keep a nice little bend in the knee as well. You're still stretching the hamstring even if it is bending. If they're really tight, you might want to start here, and then as it begins to release, you can stretch it out and straighten it. So start here, stretching it out. And so here's where you'll really want to work, and this is the pose. If I had to choose one pose for tight hamstrings, this is the pose I would recommend to do daily, like when you wake up in the morning, before you go to bed. So you can begin to bring that closer to you. You can allow your arms to fall and rest on the ground. And your gaze is just straight forward, so you have a nice line in your neck. And so I recommend holding this for at least 10 deep breaths. And then it's even nicer is to begin to allow the leg to fall out towards the right. You can begin to stretch that inner groin area. We're still stretching our hamstrings, but we're stretching the hamstrings all around, since there's several muscles there. And we can bring that back to center, and then you can also allow the leg to fall inwards. Since I have a baby, my leg's not falling very far. And you're wanting to keep your hips grounded on the mat. Sometimes we just want to fall all the way over and out. Keeping the hips grounded, just trying to find that nice stretch in the leg here. So side to side, and maybe one last time at center. And you can release. Maybe shake it out a little bit. And then extend the right leg, bring the left leg into the strap. Finding the ball of the foot. way that I really recommend, if it's not too complicated to do, if you have a long strap, is you can wrap it around the leg. So if you're choosing that method, you would actually place the strap in the middle area of the foot, and then you would wrap it in front of the ankle and then around the back calf, and you get a really nice sturdy grab and hold, like your foot isn't falling back and forth. And I feel the stretch even deeper if you're able to do that. The first method that I showed was simpler, so you know, if you can't figure out this and it feel right, then certainly use the first method. So stretching and releasing to the side. And then releasing to the inside. And back to center. You can release the strap. And shake out the legs. And just hug your knees, roll up. And yeah, so that is just quick, 3 quick poses for tight hamstrings. Hope you found this helpful. Thanks.